Namaskar. I Shambhavi welcome you all to your channel Galactic Echoes. So let's start exploring the wisdom of Vedic astrology. So today we'll be discussing another dynamic astrology topic, that is the Ketu's transit into the sign of Leo. As I have already made the video on Rahu's transit into the sign of Aquarius, which I have linked in the description below. So you can check that out according to your specific ascendant. But this video is for Ketu's transit into the sign of Leo. How will it manifest and what results we can expect this time for this 1.5 year transit of Ketu's. So let's dive in. So, to understand this transit in a brief, let's talk about the Ketu, the sign Leo, and then we'll blend both of these entities. So, the Ketu is, imagine it as a mysterious headless cosmic entity, the tail of the serpent, and it doesn't judge how much reward or punishment it should give to an individual because it is headless, so it cannot judge. And it is a very spiritual planet, so it is linked to spiritual growth and cutting unnecessary events and people from our lives. Ketu is like a strict wise editor. It shrinks things, it breaks them into smaller pieces, and it dries up the areas wherever it sits in the horoscope. Why? Because it has already mastered those things in the past life, in the past births. If Ketu is sitting in the 7th house of your chart, in your case, generally it is observed, it is said by people and astrologers that it will dry up the marriage. It doesn't mean that it is denying the marriage, because see, Ketu is also the part of the serpent, which is the whole demon Swarbhanu. So it also gives a kind of obsession, because if you are not on the spiritual side of the Ketu, then you are very much on the materialistic side of the Rahu. So you'll be inclined toward those things. You want them as much as you can do, as highly as possible it can be. So in order to achieve that, you ignore the spiritual Ketuian part in your life. That is why the dryness comes, because you are so much immersed in yourself. If Ketu is in the 7th house, Rahu will be in the 1st house. Your attention in this birth will be on yourself, your personality, your grooming, your presence in the world. That is why it is drying up that 7th house. It doesn't deny marriage. So Ketu and Rahu, as I've already said in the Rahu transit video, that they are very much subjective and they have to be deciphered and predicted in a very keen way. We cannot just look onto them and just give a prediction widely. It is not so. I have tried to club this Ketu in a brief manner to make you all understand. But yes, when I'll bring the general video on Ketu, sitting in all the houses of your D1 chart, there will be discussing Ketu in deeper terms. So let's move on and let's understand the sign of Leo. So Leo in a Kalpurusha's Kundli falls in the 5th house. So Leo is, as a sign, is ruled by Sun. It is all about creativity, passion and self-expression. This sign, it also governs everything from romance and children to performing arts, politics, and even the thrill of speculative gains like stock markets also, right? Now Leo sign, whatever planets are placed there, it loves the spotlight. It thrives in leadership roles and has a big heart for fun, drama and grand gestures, because it has qualities of the sun. It is also deeply connected to education, the kind that lets you shine, like the undergraduation degrees or any creative courses which you do after the class 12th. So this is what is the Leo sign. So now the thing is what happens when mystical Ketu moves into the fiery sign of Leo. So this will be a spiritual flame meeting a creative bonfire. Like Ketu's job here will be to trim, refine, and simplify Leo's boldness, vibrant energy. It is like training to step back from the spotlight to focus on the essence of your creativity, relationships, and ambitions. Past life lessons around pride, ego, or over the top efforts might resurface, asking you to let go of what's flashy and embrace what's authentic. The simplicity, the Ketuian energy. Leo's love for drama and grandeur gets a reality check, while Ketu's spiritual fire helps you burn away old patterns to make space for soul deep growth. So, together, both of these entities, the sign and the planet, they are here to teach you balance, how to shine without burning out, love without clinging, and create without ego. So, the major theme for all of us for these next 1.5 year will be letting go of our ego. That will be the major theme. Letting go of our pride. Stop criticizing people. These will be the things generally is in a basic theme, but how these will manifest for specific ascendants, we'll now talk about that. So let's start with the Aries Ascendants. So for the Aries Ascendant, Ketu will be transiting into the 5th house of yours for these next 1.5 years. And the 5th house is all about creativity, romance, your creative self-expression. Things might get a little reflective here. You could notice a shift in how you approach fun, love, or even your hobbies. Your passion, basically, not hobbies. Old flames, romantic old flames, or people from your past. Maybe even someone with a soulmate vibe, which you met earlier in your life, they might pop back into your life. Almost like the universe is hitting rewind, and you will be awestruck by these things. So these connections could feel strangely familiar, as if you have known them before. Maybe like within the first eye contact, you'll know that there's something about this person. Maybe that soul is from the past life, which you have met with and which you have spent your time with. But here's the thing, these encounters are less about reigniting drama and flashy love, and it is more about trying up to loose ends or learning a quiet lesson. If there's unresolved karma, then this time is to face it with grace, not ego. Speaking of ego, watch out for that. If you cling to pride, especially in areas like romance, parenting, or creative projects, also, Ketu's energy here could leave you feeling drained or defeated or frustrated in these next 1.5 years. For example, insisting on being right in a relationship or forcing a project to go your way might backfire in your case. So instead, lean into humility and let things flow naturally. Don't try to become sun in the areas related to the 5th house. Romance itself might feel little or quieter or lighter during this phase. The fiery passion of Leo could cool a bit under Ketu's influence, pushing you to focus on deeper, more soulful connections rather than surface level sparks. If you are single, you might attract someone who feels like an uh, old friend or a kindred spirit for whom you have been waiting throughout your life. Someone who challenges you to grow without the flashy gestures. If you are partnered or if you are married, it is a good time to release old grudges or patterns that keep you stuck at some negative spaces in your marriage. And if past lovers resurface, tread carefully. Ask yourself, is this about healing or am I just chasing nostalgia? My good old days. Ketu loves to cut through illusions. So be honest with yourself. And I think you will be honest with yourself because you'll be inclined to do that in these next 1.5 years. Creatively, you might feel pulled to revisit old projects or ideas you abandoned years ago. Creative ideas, I must say. It is like cleaning out your mental attic. Some things you will toss, others you will polish up with the fresh perspectives, but don't force originality or compete for attention or spotlight. Ketu hates that. So the Ketu here, it thrives in simplicity. So focus on what truly resonates with you, even if it is quiet or unconventional. This goes for parenting too. If you are a parent, you might feel called to step back and let your kids take the wheel more often. Trusting them to learn their own lessons is very important for you in these next 1.5 years. Don't show that authority on them, especially on your children. It might ruin your relationship with them. Financially, avoid big ego driven risks like pouring money into a sure thing just to prove the point that you are right. Ketu prefers subtleness, so slow, mindful investments or paying off old debts will serve you better this time. And if you are studying or learning something new, ditch the pressure to be the best, to compete with the best student in your class. Curiosity over competition is the vibe here. You have to understand that. It is not necessary that you have to rote learn everything and just write it in the exam. Steer through that curiosity. Overall, this transit is like a cosmic cleanup crew. It is asking you to shed what's unnecessary. The Ketu's energy, Ketu is a sharp knife. Whether that's outdated, like relationships, stubborn pride, or creative clutter, also. If you resist by clinging to control your ego, like that kind of nature, Ketu might nudge you with setbacks to get the message. But if you flow with it, you'll make space for lighter, more authentic joy in your life. Think of it as decluttering your heart and your mind. So, trust the process, stay humble, and keep your focus on growth, not glory. The universe isn't punishing you, it's just helping you clear the path forward so that you can move smoothly in your life ahead. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the people having Taurus rising. For the Taurus ascendants, Ketu in the sign of Leo will shake up your fourth house. It will be happening in the fourth house. The fourth house is the cozy corner of your home, family, and emotional roots, emotional stability. You might feel a subtle but deep shift in how you connect with comfort and security in your life for these next 1.5 years. This energy is all about revisiting old emotional patterns, especially ones tied to your mother, your childhood, or the ideas of home itself. Past life karma could bubble up here, maybe through family members acting in familiar but frustrating ways. So you have to uh, take care of them, or sudden memories of places or people from your early years that feel oddly significant can also come up, can also pop up. You might even cross paths with someone from a past life, like a relative or a childhood old friend or a soul tied to your family history. You will know that in the first instance that yes, I know him somehow, who shows up to you to help you heal or close a karmic loop. But tread gently. If ego sneaks in, like stubbornly clinging to how things should be, refusing to forgive family drama, or demanding control over everything, control over your home life, then this Ketu's spiritual fire could leave you feeling drained or struck. You can also feel defeated. It's like the universe saying that let go, or I'll help you let go it the hard way. So you have to understand this thing. Your relationship with your mother or your mother figures also might take a center stage this time for these next 1.5 years. Old tensions or unspoken emotions could resurface, not to punish you but to clear the air. So this isn't about blame, it's about understanding patterns that stretch back lifetimes. You might feel called to simply your home, downsize clutter, or even move somewhere quieter, as Ketu nudges you to find peace in minimalism rather than clinging on to something very much material, comfort. So you want a basic meal, a basic home, a basic emotional security at your home, cause your attention is on the 10th house because Rahu is transiting in the 10th house. So emotional security could feel wobbly at first, like the rugs being pulled from under your feet, but it's pushing you to build inner stability. You will understand this as this transit will end and Ketu will move into the sign of Cancer. So instead of relying on external validation or familiar routines, you should look inward and build that emotional security inside yourself. Romantically, if you are attached, there might be moments where you crave more solitude or emotional space, especially also in relationship with your mother. Not because the love's gone, but because Ketu wants you to balance that connection with self sufficiency. You want your attention to be derived into the 10th house. Singles might attract someone who feels like a safe, nostalgic presence, almost like you have known them in another life, but beware of idealizing them. Ketu loves cutting through illusions, so keep things real. Don't uh, think that because of the fact that they are this kind of, so I'm in la la land, don't do these things. Financially, avoid impulsive bets on property or overspending to keep up your appearances at home. Ketu's detail oriented energy favors practical steps like fixing leaks in your home, budgeting, or reconnecting with ancestral wisdom about money. And if you are studying, if you are a student, especially topics tied to family, history, or psychology, you will suddenly explore these things also. But don't force yourself into rigid routines. So let curiosity guide you. Health wise, stress might hit your stomach or chest because the moon's influence also be there because the Ketu is moving into the fourth house of your. So prioritize calming rituals like warm meals, moonlight walks also to process old emotions. Emotionally, you might cycle through phases of feeling restless or detached from loved ones or from your family, especially from your mother. But that's okay. If Ketu's energy is asking you to release outdated definitions of family or security to make room for something more authentic, you should do that. You shouldn't be clinging onto the past patterns. So, overall, for all the Taurus ascendants, this transit is like a spiritual spring cleaning for your heart and your home. It's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. Surrender control. Forgive old wounds, yours and theirs also, your family members also, your mothers also. And trust that every loss or change is making space for deeper peace. The less you resist, the smoother the ride will be. So remember that Ketu's punishments are just course of correction or not so gentle in some cases, but it reminds you to focus on soul growth over ego's demands. So keep it humble, stay open, and let your roots grow stronger into the quiet, huge trees. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Gemini ascendants. So for the Gemini ascendants, this transit of the Ketu into the sign of Leo will light up your third house. It will be happening into the third house of yours. The third house is the zone of communication, siblings, short journeys, your inner courage. So you might notice life nudging you to simplify, reflect, and release old patterns in all these areas. Ketu will dry this area. So this transit could stir up past life karma tied to siblings also, classmates also, co-workers also, or people you have collaborated with in business or creative projects. So all these things will come up. Someone from your past, a younger sibling, or an old friend, or even a colleague, they they might reappear almost like a uh, character from a previous chapter of your life, of your soul's story. So these interactions could feel charged with unfinished lessons, pushing you to resolve old tensions or misunderstandings, making new philosophical foundations for you. But there's the catch. If ego creeps into your communication, like insisting on being the smartest in the room, or dominating conversations, or holding grudges, Ketu's energy could leave you feeling mentally drained or stuck. In conflicts, you will be defeated. So it's like the universe is whispering to you that drop the drama and focus on growth. Don't go for those petty conflicts and petty ego battles. Your relationship with your siblings or people who you feel like are siblings might go through a phase of distance or subtle friction also, because Ketu will dry up that area wherever it sits in the transit. So this isn't about fighting, it's about clearing out old dynamics that no longer serve either of you, they them also and you also. So past like habits of competing for attention or hiding your true thoughts could resurface, urging you to communicate with more honesty and less pride, but in a short way, in a brief way. So short trips also or local travel might feel less exciting or get delayed in these next 1.5 years. But this slowdown could to do push you to appreciate the journey itself, not just the destination. You will be drawn to long distance travels because Rahu will be transiting in the ninth house. Business meetings or networks could hit snacks if you are overly attached to winning the deal. Instead, focus on collaboration and listening, being the dormant person in those business meetings. That might help you. So, courage and self expression might take a quieter turn this time. That bold, fiery Leo energy could feel muted under Ketu's influence, because that is what Ketu does wherever it transits, making you second guess risks or big decisions. But this isn't weakness, it's a call to refine your plans. So pay attention to details and act from intuition rather than impulsiveness. This is important in your case. Creativity could flow in unexpected ways, like revisiting old hobbies of writing, coding, crafting, whatever you loved once, you abandoned years ago. You might feel drawn to minimalistic or spiritual forms of art, stripping away from the flashy layers to find deeper meaning. Because Rahu will be transiting into the ninth house. Because you are withdrawn from that third house, that is why you are going into that ninth house. Financially, speculative ventures like stocks or quick money schemes could feel riskier than usual, so you won't be doing that. Ketu's shrinking energy favors careful analysis over leaps of faith. So, if you are in sales or negotiations, this kind of work, marketing, avoid over compromising. Understatement and precision will work better in these next 1.5 years. Education wise, if you are learning something new, especially tech or writing or communication skills also, old insecurities or perfectionism might pop up. But you have to understand this thing. Let go of comparing yourself to others. This is what Ketu is here to teach you. Progress here is about depth, not speed. You have to understand that. Health wise, this transit of Ketu into the sign of Leo for these next 1.5 years might show up as tension in your hands, shoulders, or throat. Breathing exercises, journaling, or light exercise like yoga or walking can help you. Stress busters are very much needed to you in these next 1.5 years. Emotionally, you might feel restless or disconnected from your usual social circles. This is Ketu asking you to release superficial connections. and try to nurture bonds that truly feed your soul, that really are important to your soul. This is what Ketu will make you understand here in these next 1.5 years. So, overall, this transit for all of you Gemini ascendants is like a gentle but firm editor for your life's 3D house script. It's like trimming excess drama, polishing old wounds, and asking you to speak and act from a place of humility and authenticity also. So, past life patterns of ego driven communication or rivalry are up for healing. You won't be doing that in these next 1.5 years. Surrender the need to control outcomes, your courage, and trust that every detour or delay is guiding you towards a lighter, wiser version of yourself. You have to understand that, because the third house is the transformation of the transformation. It creates bhavat bhavam from the eighth house. So the less you cling to being right and seen, the more space you'll create for transformation that lasts. So keep it real and stay curious and let go of what's weighing down your courage and killing your authenticity. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Cancer risings. So for the Cancer ascendants, this transit of Ketu into the sign of Leo will be stirring up your second house. The second house is tied to family, speech, wealth, and your deepest values, your hoarded wealth. You might feel quiet but noticeable shift in how you connect with money, loved ones, and even your self-expression as a human on this planet Earth. This transit often brings up past life karma linked to family, especially ancestors or relatives you have shared history with across lifetimes. Someone from your soul's past, a parent, sibling, or even a childhood friend could reappear, either to heal old wounds or to settle karmic debts. Conversations might feel charged with unspoken history, like you are replying a dynamic that started long before this life. You are not interested in the present conversation for these next 1.5 years. But be mindful of ego here. If you cling to pride, like insisting on having the final word in family disputes, flaunting wealth to prove your worth, or using harsh speech to control others, these all things might backfire. So, Ketu's energy could leave you feeling financially strained or emotionally isolated if you do all these things, clinging onto your ego. It's like the universe is saying and asking you that humility, please. This isn't about winning. You have to understand this theme, especially in the areas related to your family dynamics, your relatives. Your relationship with family or those who you feel like family might go through a phase of detachment or subtle tension also. So, old patterns around money, inheritance, or shared resources with your spouse could resurface because Rahu will be sitting in the eighth house of yours, urging you to simplify financial ties or release grudges over past disagreements. Ketu's detail oriented side might push you to audit expenses, downsize your possessions, or rethink how you value material security. Wealth could feel unstable temporarily for only 1.5 years, but this is less about loss and more about redefining what true abundance means to you. Maybe prioritizing emotional wealth over flashy assets is what Ketu is trying to make you understand. So, speech and communication take on a quieter, more reflective tone in these next 1.5 years for you all. You might hesitate before speaking, as if Ketu is trimming unnecessary words from your vocabulary. So, this isn't a weakness, it's a chance to communicate with more authenticity and to the point, and less ego also, because Ketu is that sharp knife, it cuts through things. So, past habits of gossiping, exaggerating, or people pleasing through words might come up for review with this Ketu's transit. Healing could come through honest, heartfelt conversations, especially with elders or mentors. Creatively, you might feel to revisit old family traditions or crafts like cooking recipes passed down generations in your family, or restoring heirlooms or storytelling also. Hoarding wealth, also managing the stocks of something in your home. But avoid forcing recognition or praise for these efforts. Ketu thrives in quiet, sincere expression. Similarly, speculative investments like stock markets or gambling could feel riskier than usual. So instead, focus on slow, steady growth, like paying off your debts firstly, or investing in skills that align with your values, not get rich quick schemes. Physically, Ketu in the second house might highlight sensitivities around your face, your throat, or your teeth, or your gums. Stress could tighten your jaw or trigger allergies also. So, gentle self care like warm teas or mindful eating will help you a lot. Emotionally, you might cycle through phases of feeling dissatisfied with your appearance or social status. This is Ketu nudging you to release comparisons and find beauty in simplicity. So, if you'll cling on to this thing, if your Ketu is not mature, if you are less than 48 years of age, so it might harm you. Overall, this transit is like a cosmic audit for your heart and your home. It's asking you to shed outdated beliefs about wealth, family roles, and self worth also. If you resist by clinging to control or vanity, Ketu might dry up areas you are over attached to. But if you flow with it, if you flow with that Ketu's energy, so forgiving old family hurts, speaking with kindness over cleverness, and valuing inner richness over outer glitter, you'll unlock deeper security. So, past life lessons here are about releasing lack mentality and ego driven desires. So, trust that every change is guiding you towards a lighter, truer version of your prosperity, of yourself. So, keep it humble, stay open, and let your soul, not your savings, define your worth. So, let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Leo ascendants. So, for the Leo ascendants, the Ketu transit into the sign of Leo will be happening in the first house of yours. So, the core of the first house is your identity, your self expression, and your physical presence. So, you might feel a subtle but profound shift in how you see yourself and how others perceive you. This will be the major theme in your case. This energy is all about peeling back layers of ego, past life personas, personalities, and old habits that no longer align with your soul's growth. You could also notice a past life pattern resurfacing, like especially related to how you have presented yourself to the world. So, someone from a previous chapter of your soul's journey, a rival, a mentor, or even a version of yourself, of you from another lifetime, might mirror back lessons about confidence, courage, or self worth. You must have seen people that they were so much good. They were the first benchers in their whole school life, and they were the daily college goers, and they were the most obedient people in the college also. But now, when you check their Instagram or their social profile, they are totally opposite to what you have experienced them. They were the first benchers, and now they are here. They are totally careless. They are totally into the maya of the world. They are partying. They are traveling. They are not tied to regulations anymore. So you'll not be able to reason it out. How did it happen? It is because of the Ketu's transit into the first house. Because Ketu It brings up those past things in your life, that you were doing this in that lifetime. Did you remember? Your soul's journey is more than just a single birth. We cannot calculate it actually. We don't have that much capacity as humans. So it is useless to calculate it. It is useless to waste time on that. But the major theme which we can understand is that you might get a person from your childhood, or a person from your early days, or a person from early lifetime as well, or you will meet your personality from early days, or your personality from early lifetimes. That will change, and the people and the world will think, how did it happen? So these interactions aren't random, they are invitations to shed outdated masks and embrace a quieter, more authentic version of yourself, which will lead you to your destination, your prarabdha, where you have to go in this lifetime of yours. So, but be careful with pride here. If you cling to ego, like needing to be the strongest, the most charismatic, or the center of attention, Ketu's spiritual fire might leave you feeling drained, or feeling insecure, or even stuck or frustrated also. Or if you cling on to these energies, you might also face setbacks that humble you. It's like the universe is gently reminding you that true strength isn't about proving, it's about being yourself. So your personality might feel less loud or assertive during this transit. So Leo's natural flair could dim under Ketu's influence, making you question old ways of expressing yourself, of your creative and self expression also. So this isn't a loss, it's a chance to refine your authenticity. Past life habits of dominating conversations, hiding your insecurities, or overcompeting might come up for review. Healing could come through humility, like admitting mistakes or embracing simplicity in how you show up. So, creativity might take a turn too. Projects that once fed your ego, like performing arts or leadership roles, could lose their sparkle in this phase, pushing you towards more introspective or spiritually aligned forms of self expression, creative self expression also. So, you can do meditation, journaling, or art that heals rather than impresses. Physically, you might feel less attached to your present appearance or your present body image. Ketu's drying energy could highlight sensitivities like skin issues, fatigue, or a need to detox. So, this isn't the punishment, it is a nudge to care for your body as a vessel for growth, not just a tool for external validation. You will be inclined to do these things through this transit. Exercise routines might shift towards gentle practices like yoga, walking, doing Zumba. Emotionally, you could cycle through phases of self doubt or restlessness, as if your inner critic is louder than usual. This is Ketu asking you to release comparisons and reconnect with your intrinsic worth, your intrinsic inherent value. Financially, avoid ego driven risks like overspending on status symbols, or gambling to prove your luck. Ketu prefers practicality here. Instead, invest in skills or tools that deepen your self awareness about yourself, your being. Education wise, if you are learning, let go of the pressure to shine. Progress might feel slow, but more meaningful this time, more stable this time. But if you are going through a Ketu return, or if your Ketu is matured, or if you already possess these qualities which I have stated, then Ketu will also reward you this time. Romantically, relationships could push you to balance self expression with compromise, because Rahu will be transiting into the 7th house of yours. So if you are single, you might attract someone who challenges your ego, perhaps a past life connection who mirrors your insecurities or strengths. Partnerships could demand honesty about needs you have ignored to keep up the peace in the relationship. So these things might pop up, and these things you will see in your romantic relationships. Overall, this transit is a spiritual detox for your sense of self. It's asking you to release the need to perform, compete, or cling to an image that no longer exists or that no longer fits your path, your goal. Past life karma around pride, leadership, or identity is up for healing. If you resist by clinging to control or vanity, Ketu might stir up challenges in your life to soften your edges, to soften your egos. But if you flow with it, embracing insecurities, quiet confidence, and radical self honesty, you'll uncover a deeper, more soulful version of yourself. So trust that every stumble is guiding you towards inner strength that doesn't need applause. Keep it real, stay humble, and let your light shine from the inside of you, not in the flashy moves of the sign of Leo. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Virgo ascendants. So for the Virgo ascendants, this transit of Ketu into the sign of Leo will be happening into the 12th house of yours. The realm of endings, solitudes, and subconscious, foreign lands, imagination is all the 12th house. So you might feel a gentle pull to slow down, retreat, and release what's been weighing on your soul, on your head all these years. This energy often stirs up past life karma tied to foreign lands, spiritual communities, or people you have shared hidden bonds with across lifetimes, not only in this birth. Someone from a past life, a mentor, a healer, or even a figure from a distant culture could drift back into your orbit, not to reignite drama or flashy moves, but to help you close a karmic loop, because Ketu is all about the closure of the karmic loops. So these connections might feel dreamlike or strangely familiar, as if your souls are meeting again to heal old wounds or dissolve lingering attachments. But go lightly here. If ego sneaks in, like resisting solitude because it feels lonely, clinging to control over your spiritual journey, or judging your own subconscious fears, this Ketu's energy into the 12th house of your could leave you feeling mentally exhausted or stuck in cycles of escapism. Also, it might also give you frustration. It's like the universe is nudging you to let go. You don't need to fix everything. This is the theme for you all, Virgo Ascendants. Your relationship with solitude, escapism, imagination, liberation might deepen during this transit, because Ketu doesn't dries up that area always. Leo's fiery, outgoing vibe could dim in this hidden house, making socializing feel less appealing. Instead, you'll crave quiet movements to reflect, daydream, or dive into spiritual practices like meditation or yoga, Reiki healing, also, or some shadow work. Like you are doing something, but you are throughout anonymous. So, past life patterns of avoiding inner work through or intellectualizing emotions might resurface in your case, urging you to face buried feelings with compassion. Creativity here in these next 1.5 years could flow in unexpected ways, like through poetry, through music or art that explores themes of loss or liberation, or you know uh, just untying that knot, but don't force it into the spotlight. So Ketu thrives in the background, so let these projects be for your soul's eyes only. You should do all these things in private. Travel, especially to far off places might feel delayed or less glamorous than planned. Then you have thought about those things. But this isn't a setback, it's an invitation to explore inner landscapes instead. If you do go abroad, you might feel drawn to spiritual sites or experiences that reconnect you with past life wisdom, because Jupiter is the ruler, is the original ruler of the 12th house. So wisdom, the past life wisdom will be the theme. Financially, avoid risky bets on foreign investments or foreign speculative ventures. Ketu's shrinking energy favors saving over splurging, and paying off old debts will bring more peace than chasing gains. So this will be a major theme in your case. Don't make new debts, because you will be inclined to do that, because Rahu is transiting into the 6th house of yours. But I don't think you should go for those things. Health wise, stress could show up as sleep issues, vague anxieties, or sensitivities to environments like hospitals or crowded places. So gentle routines like herbal teas, bedtime rituals, or walks in nature will soothe more than forcing rigid self discipline, like tracing the clock's arm throughout the day. Emotionally, you might cycle through phases of feeling disconnected from your usual routine of friendships. That's okay. It's Ketu asking you to release dependencies on external validation and trust your inner compass. So you have to understand that. Relationships in these next 1.5 years could bring subtle tests around boundaries. Partners or close friends might need more space, or past life dynamics could resurface. If you are single, you might attract someone elusive or spiritually enigmatic, a mirror for your own subconscious growth. But don't romanticize them. Ketu cuts through illusions because it is the sharp knife. So keep expectations grounded. Don't get into that la la land sort of thing. So overall, this transit for you as Virgo Ascendants is like a spiritual retreat for your soul. It's asking you to release control, because the Moksha Trikona is activated, forgive old stories, and surrender to the unknown, the divine consciousness. Past life karma around isolation, sacrifice, or hidden power struggles is up for healing. So, if you resist by clinging to logic, overworking, or judging your own insecurities, which is what you are inclined to do in these next 1.5 years, because Rahu is transiting into the 6th house of you. So, Ketu might nudge you with fatigue or confusion. But if you flow with it, embracing quiet, trusting intuition, and letting go of shoulds, you'll uncover profound liberation. Think of it as shedding an old skin to make space for a lighter, wiser you. Keep it simple, stay humble, and let the universe handle the rest. The deepest growth happens in the quiet. You have to understand that thing. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Libra ascendants. So for the Libra ascendants, this transit of the Ketu into the sign of Leo will be happening into the 11th house of yours in the Kam Trikona. So this zone is of friendship, social circles, social goals, and things you wish for, you desire. So you might notice a quiet shift in how you connect with groups, handle gains, or you relate to elder siblings. This transit often brings up past life karma tied to social circles or collective efforts, group projects, or maybe a friend, colleague, or even an elder sibling you have shared history with across lifetimes. They might pop up, they might resurface in your life. Someone from your soul's past could reappear, perhaps a person you collaborated within a past life, like a community project or whatever, creative venture, or even a rebellion also, because 11th original 11th house is known for revolutionary tendencies. To settle old dynamics, these interactions might feel fated, but they are really about resolving unfinished business. Just watch out your ego here. If you cling to social issues obsess over being the most popular or use friendships as a ladder for personal gain. Ketu's energy could leave you feeling excluded or facing unexpected losses. This is the thing you have to understand. It is like the universe is whispering in your ear that true connections aren't about numbers, they are about the depth. Your social life might thin out a bit because Ketu dries up that area wherever it sits, not because you are unlikable, but because Ketu is trimming superficial ties to make space for soul aligned bonds. Because it is the editor, the wisest editor, Ketu is. So, group projects or team efforts could hit snags if you are overly attached to credit or control. Past life habits of manipulating networks for power or hiding envy behind diplomacy might resurface, urging you to interact with more honesty and less pretense. Because Ketu is it indicates simplicity. Elder siblings or figures you feel like siblings might distance themselves from you or bring up old tensions. But this isn't about conflict, but about clearing karmic patterns of rivalry or competition. Financially, sudden gains like bonuses, gifts, or windfalls could feel elusive or come with strings attached. Ketu's shrinking energy, because it also shrinks wherever it sits, will favor slow, steady growth over luck. So, speculative bets like stock markets and gambling might disappoint you if driven by greed. So, be careful. Collaborative investments could thrive. Your children, if you have them, because 11th house is the 5th from 7th, or creative projects tied to kids might demand more humility, like releasing pressure onto them to succeed or redefining what success means for them. So you have to do this in these next 1.5 years. Creatively, you might feel less motivated to showcase your work publicly. Instead, you will lean into private spiritual art forms also, like writing, music, or crafts that heal rather than they impress, especially in the social circle of yours. But on the general sphere, because Rahu is transiting in the 5th house, you will love to be in the spotlight. Hidden enemies could surface because 11th house is also the 6th from the 6th. So Ketu's job isn't to fight them, it's to help you see their role in your growth. Maybe they are mirrors of past life behaviors you are meant to release. So you should learn from them and you should grow by observing them. Health wise, stress might affect your ankles, circulation, or your nervous system also. But gentle movements like dancing, swimming, and mindful breathing can help you very much. So, emotionally, you might feel detached from usual hobbies or your passions or social buzz. But this Ketu is asking you to find joy in quieter, more introspective pursuits, more mature, spiritually inclined social circles. So, overall, this transit for you as a Libra ascendant is a cosmic declutter for your social and aspirational life, because 11th house are also our goals. It's asking you to release ego driven goals, transactional friendships, and outdated definitions of success. If you resist by clinging to control or vanity, Ketu might nudge you with problems, with setbacks, like plans unraveling or gains slipping away. So you have to understand this thing. But if you flow with it, valuing quality over quantity in relationships, serving communities without expecting applause, and trusting that losses make space for soul aligned abundance, you will find deeper fulfillment and prosperity in your life. So past life lessons here are about balancing ambition with integrity. So keep it humble, stay open, and let your heart, not your ego, guide your connections this time. This universe isn't taking things away from you, it is redirecting you towards what truly matters in your life for achieving that final goal. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Scorpio Ascendants. So for the Scorpio Ascendants, this Ketu's transit into the sign of Leo will be happening into the 10th house of your. So 10th house is connected to career, reputation, public dignity, and your public role. You might feel a quiet but significant shift in how you approach your work, authority, or long-term goals. This transit often stirs up past life karma linked to your profession, your leadership roles, or also your relationships with your father. So, someone from your soul's history, like a boss or a colleague or even a parental figure, could reappear not to reignite old power struggles but to help you resolve unfinished lessons around ambition, control, or recognition. These interactions might feel intense or fated, as if you are replaying dynamics from a time when ego driven choices, yours or theirs, created imbalance. But be mindful of pride here. This is very important. If you cling to status or chase titles for validation or stubbornly resist feedback, then this Ketu's energy could leave you feeling stuck or overlooked or facing unexpected setbacks or career hiccups. So you shouldn't be doing that. It's like the universe is saying that true success isn't about climbing, it's about evolving. You have to understand that. So, taking the path of ego won't help in any case. Your career path might slow down or pivot in unexpected ways. So, projects you have poured your identity into could lose steam, urging you to question if they still align with your soul's purpose or not. Past life patterns of overworking, manipulating power struggles, or hiding insecurities behind authority might resurface. So, healing comes through humility and admitting gaps in knowledge, your problems, your mistakes, mentoring others without ego, embracing roles that feel smaller but more meaningful is important in your case. Your relationship with your father or your father figures also, but mostly your father, could also surface old tensions, inviting you to release grudges or inherited pressures to succeed on others' terms. These things can be seen. Marriage or long term partnerships, because 10th house is the fourth from the 7th house, so it is the happiness of the marriage also. So, these things might feel less about romance and more about shared growth. If you are married, your spouse's career or public role could demand flexibility, or past life patterns of competing for spotlight might need addressing. If you are single, you might attract someone with a karmic tie to your professional world, a colleague, a client, or someone who mirrors your ambitions also. But tread carefully, I must say this, because Ketu cuts through illusions. It is that sharp knife that cuts through all the illusions. So avoid idealizing them as perfect matches. This isn't the case. Financially, avoid ego driven risks in career like chasing flashy opportunities, flashy promotions, or overspending to impress at your work front. Ketu's detail oriented energy favors practical steps, updating your skills, streamlining workflows, or repairing your professional relationships. This might steer you through this transit. Speculative gains like stocks, side hustles, side gigs could dip if driven by greed, but patient, ethical efforts might slowly thrive and could take you places in your career. Creatively, you might feel drawn to projects that blend artistry with service, like teaching, healing, arts, or advocacy, but resist the urge to force recognition. Fulfillment here comes from quiet impact, not applause. Health wise, stress could affect your knees, your joints, or your thighs also. Gentle stretching, grounding practices, or revisiting old hobbies can ease tension in your case. So, emotionally, you might cycle through phases of feeling undervalued or restless in your public role. This is Ketu nudging you to redefine success on your terms, not on society's, because it is you who will choose and select your career, not your parents or your society. So, overall, this transit is a spiritual audit for your career and legacy. It's asking you to release outdated ambitions, forgive professional rivalries, and align work with inner truth and your inner self. Past life karma around authority, control, or sacrificing integrity for status is up for healing. So, if you resist by clinging on to ego or control, Ketu might nudge you with setbacks like missed opportunities or reputation hiccups. But if you flow with it, serving without expectation, leading with empathy, and trusting that detours are divine redirections, you'll unlock a deeper, more authentic version of your success. So keep it humble, stay open, and let your soul, not your resume, guide your path. Every challenge here is a stepping stone to a legacy that outshines any title or any entitlement. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Sagittarius Ascendants. So for the Sagittarius Ascendants, this transit of Ketu into the sign of Leo will be happening into the ninth house of yours. This is the realm of beliefs, higher wisdom, your relationship with luck, your father, your mentors, your fortune. So you might feel a quiet but profound shift in how you view life's bigger picture. This transit often stirs up past life karma tied to mentors, teachers, or father figures. People who shaped your spiritual or your philosophical journey across lifetimes will be the theme in your case. So, someone from your soul's history, a past guru, or a parental figure, or even a rival philosopher could reappear in this transit, not to debate ideologies but to help you release old dogmas or heal wounds around authority and faith. These interactions might feel heavy with unspoken history, as if you are revisiting a lesson your soul started long ago. But watch out for ego here. If you cling to rigid beliefs, flaunt your knowledge to prove superiority, or stubbornly reject new perspectives, then this Ketu's energy could leave you feeling spiritually drained and spiritually out of your machinery, or facing setbacks in education, travel, luck, or fortune also. It's like the universe is whispering wisdom grows when you stay curious, not certain. This will be the major theme for these next 1.5 years in your case. So your relationship with your father or father like mentors might surface old tensions or unspoken expectations also. Past life patterns of clashing over beliefs, competing for recognition because fame is also seen from the ninth house, or hiding doubts behind dogmas could resurface. So, this isn't about blame, it's about softening edges and finding common ground. Because Ketu is known for karmic closure, so it won't let you into that competition. Higher education or long-term studies might feel frustratingly slow, but this is Ketu nudging you to dive deeper, not wider. Revisiting abandoned courses, exploring spirituality over formal religion, or mentoring others without seeking credit could bring unexpected fulfillment in your case. Also, you might also get unexpected doors to making your fortune through these practices. Luck and fortune might feel less flashy during this phase. Big wins or dramatic opportunities could dry up, pushing you to appreciate smaller, quieter blessings like inner clarity. Speculative gains of stock markets gambling are best approached with caution because Ketu's shrinking energy favors patience over risk. Instead, invest in knowledge that aligns with your soul. Even if it doesn't promise immediate rewards, you should be investing in knowledge and higher learning and higher beliefs. And investing doesn't mean enrolling into a course, it is also giving a small portion of your time to study something every day. Creatively, you might feel drawn to blend art with philosophy, writing, teaching, or creating pieces that explore existential themes will be seen in your case. But avoid forcing your work into spotlight. Fulfillment here comes from the process, not applause. Travel, especially to spiritual or foreign destinations, would feel delayed or underwhelming. Maybe you are not overjoyed, you are not excited about that. But inner journeys like meditation, therapy, and shadow work also might unlock deeper insights. Shadow work, especially you anonymously working for something related to ninth house, which is the philosophy, religion, higher beliefs. Health wise, stress could affect your liver, your hips, or your thighs also. Gentle movement like yoga or hiking and mindful eating can help you in these 1.5 years. Emotionally, you might cycle through phases of doubt about your beliefs. This is Ketu asking you to release the need to have all the answers. Embrace mystery because it is what Ketu teaches everyone. Overall, this transit is a spiritual detox for your worldview. It is asking you to release rigid philosophies, forgive intellectual rivalries, and redefine what truth means to your soul. Not coming into the spotlight means not celebrating your achievements. Past life karma around pride in knowledge, clashed with authority, or using beliefs to control others is up for healing. These areas will be healed in your case. If you resist by clinging to dogma or ego, Ketu might nudge you with confusion or missed opportunities. But if you flow with it, if you flow with its energy of staying humble, learning from unlikely teachers, and trusting that uncertainty is the part of the journey, you'll uncover a deeper, more compassionate wisdom. Keep your heart open, your mind flexible, and let go of the need to be the right. True growth here isn't about winning all the debates, it's about finding peace in the questions. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Capricorn ascendants. So when Ketu will be transiting into the sign of Leo, for you Capricorn ascendants, it will be happening into the 8th house of yours, which is the realm of secrets, transformations, shared assets with your spouse. So you might, in-laws also, so you might feel a subtle but deep shift in how you handle life's mysteries. This transit often brings up past life karma tied to your in-laws, financial partnerships, or hidden dynamics you have carried across lifetimes. So someone from your soul's history, a past spouse, a business partner, or even a figure tied to old family secrets could resurface, not to reignite drama, but to help you close a karmic chapter. So these interactions might feel intense or fated, as if you are revisiting a story your soul started long ago. But tread carefully with ego here. If you cling to control over shared money, manipulate situations for power, or stubbornly hide truths to protect your image, Ketu's energy could leave you feeling financially strained or emotionally exposed also. It's like the universe is gently reminding you that transparency triumphs control. Sudden gains like inheritances or lottery wins might feel elusive or smaller than hoped. Ketu's shrinking energy favors releasing attachment to windfalls and sudden gains and focusing instead on ethical slow growth efforts, because your attention is on the second house, hoarding the wealth. Research or projects involving others resources of loans investments could demand meticulous attention in your case. So double check the details but avoid overcomplicating things. This is the theme in your case. Past life patterns of financial secrecy or power struggles over shared assets might resurface, urging you to balance practicality with fairness, with authenticity. Your relationship with your in laws or deeper partnerships might go through a detox phase. Old tensions or unspoken grudges could bubble up, not to punish you but to clear stagnant energy. So, this isn't about taking sides, it's about healing generational patterns with humility. You have to understand this. So, transformation here might feel slow, like shedding an old skin, but trust that every release makes space for lighter connections and more soul tied connections. Creatively, you might feel drawn to explore taboo topics or arts that heal hidden wounds, like writing, therapy, uh, mysticism subjects of astrology, mystic, occult also. But keep these projects private initially. Ketu thrives in the unseen. Health wise, stress could affect your energy levels or reproductive systems also. So, gentle detoxes, rest, and releasing old emotional baggage will help more than pushing through. So, this is the thing which you have to understand in these next 1.5 years through this Ketu's transit. Overall, this transit is a spiritual cleansing for your relationship with power, secrets, and shared stakes with your spouse. It's asking you to surrender control, forgive old betrayals, and trust that loss often precedes liberation. If you resist by clinging to manipulation or pride, Ketu might nudge you with setbacks like unexpected bills or exposed secrets. But if you flow with it, opening up about fears, handling shared resources with integrity, and embracing your insecurities as strengths, you'll unlock profound inner renewal. Past life lessons here are about balancing ambitions with ethics. Keep it honest, stay humble, and let go of what's meant to dissolve. True power lies in transparency, not control. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Aquarius ascendants. For the Aquarius ascendants, the Ketu's transit into the sign of Leo will be happening into the seventh house of yours, of marriage, partnerships, close connections, business partnerships also. You might notice a quiet shift in how you relate to others, especially spouses, your spouse, your business partners, or even your rivals. So, this transit often stirs up past life karma tied to relationships. Maybe a spouse, business ally, or someone you have shared a deep bond with in another lifetime, not in this birth. Also in this birth, but the probability of that thing is less. might reappear, not to rehash old drama, but to keep you resolve lingering patterns of imbalance, control, or your unmet expectations. These interactions might feel fated or oddly familiar, as if you are replying a dynamic your souls agreed to heal long ago. But be mindful of ego here. If you cling to power struggles, demand perfection from partners, or use charm to manipulate outcomes, Ketu's energy could leave you feeling disconnected or facing unexpected partnership problems, setbacks in your case. Because Rahu is transiting into the first house of yours. So it's like the universe is whispering that true harmony isn't about control, it's about mutual growth, which you'll have to understand this time in this transit. So, marriage or committed relationships might enter a phase of introspection, spirituality, and very much whitish sort of. Passion could cool temporarily, but not because love is fading, but because Ketu wants you to build bonds on authenticity, on a solid foundation, not grand gestures or ego boosts. Past life habits of romanticizing partners or hiding your insecurities might surface, urging you to communicate with more honesty and less performance. If single, you might attract someone who feels like an old soul that you'll know that in the first eye contact, a karmic mirror reflecting lessons about balance of self-worth. This is the kind of vibe you'll get from that person, but avoid idealizing them. Ketu loves cutting through illusions to reveal deeper truths, because Ketu is that sharp knife which cuts through things. So, business partnerships in this transit could demand meticulous attention from yourself. But because you are so much engrossed in yourself, because Rahu is transiting in the first house, so contracts, shared resources, or roles might need renegotiation because you have drained them. That is dried up. Past financial or power imbalances from this life or another also could resurface, pushing you to collaborate with humility rather than competition, because Ketu, it teaches you that thing, no competition and only compromise. Speculative ventures like joint investments might underperform if driven by greed, but be patient, detail oriented efforts could stabilize these things. Your relationship with the children of your younger siblings might feel lighter but more detached. Old patterns of overprotecting or projecting unmet goals onto them could soften, giving space for their independence, because seventh house is the fifth from the third house. So your mother's happiness might also tie into this energy, because seventh is fourth from the fourth. Past life tensions or unspoken expectations could ease as you both release roles that no longer fit. So maybe you'll see that your mother's happiness is so much, uh, either she's into spirituality so much, or she is not getting happiness from anywhere. Creative collaborations of art projects might lose their sparkle unless they align with your soul's purpose. So this will be the theme. Instead of chasing applause, focus on partnerships that nurture growth or serve a cause. Health wise, stress could affect your kidneys, your lower back. So, staying hydrated and prioritizing rest will help you a lot in this phase. Emotionally, you might cycle through phases of feeling dissatisfied with social circles or society as a whole. But this is Ketu asking you to release transactional relationships and nurture bonds that honor your true self. And just focusing on yourself won't do much good to you, as Rahu is transiting in the first house of yours. So, overall, this transit is a spiritual time up for your closest connections. It's asking you to shed ego driven expectations, forgive old relational wounds, and trust that quieter, deeper bonds often outlast the flashy ones. You have to understand this. If you resist by clinging on to control or vanity, Ketu might nudge you with delays or misunderstandings also, especially in relationships and with your spouse. But if you flow with it, embracing your insecurities, sharing power gracefully, and seeing partners as mirrors for growth, you will uncover relationships that feel both freeing and grounding. So, past life lessons here are about balancing self respect with compromise. Keep it real, stay humble, and let love evolve in its own time. The best partnerships aren't built on perfection, they are built on mutual release. So let's move forward and let's understand this transit for the Pisces ascendants. So, for the Pisces ascendants, this transit of Ketu into the sign of Leo will be happening in the sixth house of yours. So, the sixth house is the corner tied to daily routines, health, and your life's little challenges also. So, you might feel a subtle but steady shift in how you handle your daily life work, your habits, or even your old grudges with your rivals. So, this transit often stirs up past life karma linked to co workers, rivals, or relatives also, like cousins or your maternal uncle. People you have shared tricky dynamics with across lifetimes. Someone from your soul's history might reappear, maybe a former colleague, a competitive friend, or a family member, not to restart the drama again, but to help you finally clear the air or settle an old score. So these interactions could feel frustratingly familiar, like you are reliving a pattern you thought you had left behind. But watch out for ego here, because if you cling to control over routines, nurse those resentment towards rivals, or stubborn refuse to adapt at work, Ketu's energy could leave your feelings drained or facing unexpected setbacks in your job also, because sixth house is also the house of your jobs. It's like the universe is saying to you that let go of the grind. It's time to work smarter, not harder. This is the theme you have to understand this time. Your daily routines might need detox. That rigid schedule or perfectionist streak should be slowed down. Ketu gently unravel it, pushing you to simplify tasks or delegate more. Past life habits of overworking to prove your worth or hiding stress behind busyness might resurface, urging you to prioritize balance over hustle. Health wise, minor issues like related to digestion, skin, or in very severe terms nervous system, but that has to we have to confirm it from your D1 chart, could also flare up. But this isn't punishment, it is a nudge to finally address habits you have ignored. Think of it as your body's way of saying, let's try yoga instead of caffeine. This is the theme you have to understand. Debts or financial obligations might demand attention, especially ones tied to family, like loans from cousins or your maternal uncles. So, Ketu's detail oriented energy here favors the practical steps you have to take. So, budgeting and negotiating payment plans or releasing guilt around money would help you a lot in this phase. But avoid impulsive fixes or ego driven risks like gambling to solve debts. This will not work for you. Slow, steady progress will outlast quick wins. So, you don't have to be that flashy person that will uh, just pay off all his debts within a second. This is not the case with you this time. At work, projects could hit snags if you are overly attached to your way of doing things. Collaboration and humility will ease tensions. Past life patterns of clashing with authority or competing for recognition might soften your focus on service and your job over status. So, creativity could flourish in problem solving settings like finding artful fixes to mundane tasks or blending wellness into your job. So, you will be doing these things uh, very smoothly. Maybe you get recognized for doing these things at your workspace. Relationships with cousin or your maternal uncles might feel distant or tense, but this isn't about conflict, it's about healing generational patterns of criticism or comparison in your case. So let go of old roles like the reliable one or the peacekeeper and set gentle boundaries this time, because we as humans are not here to impress everyone, every other person in the society. So, overall, this transit is a spiritual spring cleaning for your daily life. It's asking you to release control, forgive old rivalries, because your focus this time is on in the 12th house where Rahu is transiting, in the spiritual growth. And trust that simplicity often holds the deepest peace. If you resist by clinging to perfectionism or pride, Ketu might nudge you with fatigue or delays. But if you flow with it, with its energy, embracing flexibility, prioritizing health over hustle, and seeing challenges as teachers, then you'll uncover a lighter, more mindful rhythm in your life. So, past life lessons here are about balancing discipline with self care. So, in my opinion, you should keep it humble, stay open, and remember, not every battle needs fighting. Sometimes the wisest move is to step back and let life unfold. So, this was my understanding about this topic of the Ketu's transit into the sign of Leo. I've already uploaded the Rahu's transit into the sign of Aquarius, which you can go and watch there. Also, I'll be bringing a video on a very interesting topic this week, which is how to know your partner's moon sign and sun sign. That was suggested by a dear subscriber. And also, I might drop the video of Ketu and Rahu over natal planets in your chart soon, maybe this week or in the next week. So for all these exciting videos, you have to stay connected. So for that, don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and don't forget to subscribe this channel. Thank you.